Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Lancescurv. We're on a roll, and I want to keep it that way. I had a good night's rest, good meal, good sunlight. Life is good. It really, really is. It all depends on how you see it, how you view life. And yes, there's so many things that we all have gone through, but like I love to say, you have to taste the sour in order to appreciate what's sweet. And it's another day, another chance, another opportunity for growth. I just wanted to honor our sisters who are doing the right thing. Sometimes we all make bad choices, but we can bounce back and come back better. But what I find in this world, there's so much put out on a negative level for us to absorb. And I'm speaking about our sisters now. Of course, we're going to speak about the brothers, and it happens to all of us, no matter who we are. But there's just so much out there, especially on social media. Like, social media can be such a good thing. Renee Green, NFN Shaka, welcome on in. I'm glad you're here. But other races of people don't get this stuff aimed at them so much. It's like we're targeted, and I see it. And I was on YouTube a little earlier, surfing around and seeing what is trending and what's going on. And there was a video from 1979 that this guy, who is an older guy, well, that's relative, right? Because I'm an older guy to some people too. He had done a recording, a video from 1979, speaking to this black woman who worked in this particular office. And he interviewed her about the ups and downs, and there was nothing but a lot of paper behind her, because now you know that we don't use as much paper as we used to because we have the computer. We can print things out, but it's never really as much as it used to be. And I was surprised to see that, because that was a common sight back in the day when you go to different offices, especially different government agencies. It's like, whoa, papers stacked to the ceiling. So they were speaking about the paperless society that is going to come soon because of computers, and they were speculating. And she was really getting down because she was on point. It was almost like she knew the future. So she's saying one day it's not going to be this way, and it's going to be very little paper. Viewing pleasure, welcome on in. I'm always glancing over by the chat room. Sometimes it takes me a few minutes to focus in on it. I got a lot going on around me. I was actually going to kind of show my face today, but I had so many phone calls. I couldn't set up the camera the way I wanted to. So I was like, we'll do that later on. You know what I look like. But when I looked at the sister, it brought me back, because she was so clean. There was no weave, no heavy makeup, no heavy lipstick, but she was so beautiful and captivating. And of course, we have different styles, and I'm not knocking anybody by the way that they may adorn themselves, but to see her glow like that, and to see her so intelligent and just so, there's a lot of that that's been eroded now these days, right? And it makes you realize, like, this world is overflowing with flashy distractions, fake personas, and attention-seeking antics. And it's rare and almost miraculous when you meet someone whose life resonates with substance and vision and authenticity. And this is why we need more. And it sounds corny, but we need role models, real role models. Social media has become a role model to many young ladies that don't find their way. How can we expect to have youngsters, children, if we don't have anybody to guide them? Not even just to say, do this, do that, but to already see themselves in a system that they can learn from observing. It's important. Yeah, we have our fun. We had fun last night with the crazy stories. We're going to do more of that. But I have to say this. And why did I come up with this? Because it's something that's always on my mind. But there's a young lady here in Ghana. I have to give her props, right? Nothing romantic or something that shouldn't be, because I talk to men and women. People know who I am. I know who they are. They know what I stand for, right? Even when I talk crazy, people know, okay, we're having fun tonight or whatever. But on a serious tip, it was wonderful when we met. And we had a conversation yesterday morning, a very deeply personal conversation. And we met when I was going to go through the interviews doing my Ghanaian citizenship. And for those who don't know, I'm Ghanaian on paper, right? I'm Ghanaian and I'm American, right? So I got dual citizenship. And it was a kind of a, not a lengthy process, but all of it could have been done at one time, but they'll come back on this date for this and come back on this date for that. And it was always early in the morning. That's what got me. It might be late afternoon. I did work all day and I said, man, I'm going to sleep late tomorrow. And all of a sudden, you have to be here at 7:30 a.m. And I'm like, way on the other side. I said, man, I got to get up like 4 o'clock in the morning to get over there. But it was well worth it. It's a done deal, right? But we were having a conversation yesterday and we were talking about how we connected, you know, and again, I said it wasn't in a romantic sense. It was on a deeper human level. And it was on mutual respect and intellectual curiosity and spiritual alignment. One of those things like, wow, I'm going to know you for the rest of my life, you know? And there was an energy about her that immediately demanded attention. She wasn't loud. She wasn't attention hungry. She was centered and composed. And I noticed energies, whether it's a man or a woman. I'm a straight man, so don't get this bent up. But she was a woman, a very beautiful woman, but it wasn't about her physical look. She was composed and just powerful, her energy, right? And when I got to know her, I realized that we talked, and she does YouTube also, right? And I'll drop that link. Maybe I won't because, you know, I'm talking not personal, but I'll introduce her without saying like a couple of videos down because she's doing a lot of good work on YouTube and I have to share it with her. But my brand is a little too, you know, I'm blunt and hers is classy and dignified and I don't want to scare any business away from her. You know what I mean? So I will share it probably on Lancescurv X, AKA Substack, right? I'll do it there. But when I got to know her, I realized that she's not chasing likes or desperate for followers. You know, she's not bending to trends, nor is she sacrificing her dignity to fit into society's degrading molds. And it was refreshing to see that, to see a sister who's walking on her own path deliberately, gracefully, and unapologetically, right? And the more we spoke, the more I realized that her mindset and her values and a disciplined way of life are exactly what young Black women around the world need. We need to see more of it. And we see it, but it's always overshadowed. That's the thing. By the decadence. And a lot of our sisters, young sisters, they see all of this stuff. They see the young guys in heat. And after that, and if their world happens to be small at that particular time, and that's all they know, then they're going to gravitate toward that. Because a professional life or a life as an entrepreneur or a career person or just a person who's doing their own thing, it may be unorthodox, but decent. A lot of our young sisters don't see that in their world. They don't see that. It's just like the young guys who may be in an inner city. They may go to school and come home and they don't like school as much. And they see these guys who are selling drugs or in gangs. They have the cars, they have the women. That's what they can put their hands on. That's what they can see. So we have to make sure that our children and our youth can see something else. Even if it's taking them out of the neighborhood and showing them a museum, the exhibit, whatever, that's cool, but we have to show how it can relate to them because there's a disconnect. It's like, okay, I went there, I saw that, but how does that relate to me? See, they see the immediate gains when they see the drug dealer in the corner, or he's getting money in his hand and he can buy whatever he wants to buy. You see what I mean? So they see the immediate thing. Look, there's no dog book, there's no horse book, there's no rabbit book, there's no alligator book, right? There's no squirrel book. They learn from being around each other. And so when we have the disconnect, and we know there's a lot of fatherless homes and we know there's things in homes, and it's not every home like that. Then you have emotional issues, molestations that go on. the emotional disconnect. And a lot of the parents sometimes have their own issues and don't realize how it's affecting the child. So there's a lot of things coming up. You can have a 2-parent household where both parents are there and they're making money and taking care of their kids financially, but there's no connection. You know, you have a mother who may be a single mother, working 2 jobs, never at home, who's really raising the kids, meaning that who's getting into their minds. So this is why we need good role models that you can connect with, that you can go from A to Z in their journey and say, wow, I can do that too. Not pointing to somebody and say, well, you need to be a lawyer. Well, how do I become a lawyer? You know what I mean? And so this is why I admire my niece, who is one of the top entertainment lawyers in America. And I've told you her name before, but because I talk about things that are like, you know, them small hats and stuff, I kind of keep that separate. But I'm so proud of her. In actuality, she's like my little sister. Because for a while, when she was younger, you know, my mother took care of her and everything. Personally, I told that story before, but we need to see that more. And then maybe one day, you know, I'm kind of branching out a little more. Maybe I'll get her on and talk. And unbelievable story. With hard work and guidance, you can get there. And there's so many of our youngsters that don't have that. And I want to run down 10 attributes of a good, focused young Black woman, just to put it out there. Because sometimes a lot of our sisters, they feel hopeless. What's there for them? Just like the brothers. We're talking about the sisters now. You know? Now, my friend that I met, and again, out of respect, I'm not going to put a name out there like that, but, you know, she travels the globe, not to show off or escape, but to learn, to grow, and to expose herself to new opportunities. You know, she started multiple businesses here in Ghana. Not flashy enterprises meant to impress, but grounded, viable ventures that reflect her values and long-term goals. She's very precise on how she wants to live her life. And I was so impressed. She's like, listen, I'm this age now, by the time I'm 35, this, and that. I want to be a mother. I want to be able to provide for them. She's very intelligent. And she knows where her blip is on the radar screen. And I'm not putting anybody down, but as opposed to, I'm 16 years old and I'm pregnant. You know what I mean? Like if we had women like her around other young sisters, they would think like her. You know, like she's planning her life carefully, thinking ahead to motherhood, homeownership, and generational wealth. You know, all this on a modest income. She's not making millions right now, but she's fueled by discipline and foresight, not excess or extravagance. Because a lot of times, those of us in America, our younger sisters, they think that gaining or accruing flashiness is winning. Like they were hurt when they may not have had anything, and they don't have the long suffering going on in their mind when they say, hey, listen, I'm going to push off the immediate and go for the long term, which will last. They run so quick, and a lot of our brothers do too. I'm not saying all of us as Black people, but a lot of us go, we want to show that we have something, and we're in debt now. You see what I mean? So she reminds me, and she reminds us, that a virtuous, grounded woman is not a relic of the past. She's alive and thriving. There are many examples of that. She's not screaming for the validation. She is the validation. You know, and as we see more young women being groomed by social media to value their appearance over their intellect, to exploit their bodies for attention instead of cultivating their minds and spirits. So this young woman stands as a shining counterexample. She's what our daughters, sisters, and nieces need to aspire to be. And she's pure in her heart, no venom, very happy person. She chooses happiness. She focuses, and I'm giving her a props, right? And for me now, I want to say that, okay, of course, Mrs. Scurv, but aside from Mrs. Scurv, recently in my life, I've been surrounded by some really wonderful people. And the majority of them are women who have their heads on straight, who keep my head on straight. my dear sister who I call Customado. Every day we talk and everything she says elevates me. And just like when I was listening on the video just a little while ago, and this guy said, yeah, you know, if you have 4 people who are not motivated, who are not pushing for something, and you want to be the 5th one, well, guess what you're going to turn into being? And it doesn't mean that you have to be this go-getting dynamo who jumps up 4 o'clock in the morning and does a 10-mile run. And, you know, it doesn't mean that. Even if you're in retirement and chilling a little bit and your interests are something that is positive, you're going to see other things. You're going to entertain yourself, but you have a positive momentum about you. Doesn't mean you have to be chasing dollars. It's about balance. You know, but I want to highlight the attributes of a good, forward-thinking young Black woman. You know, using my new friend as a living example. We've known each other for a while. But here's some of the traits, right? Number 1, discipline over desire. She prioritizes long-term success over instant gratification, whether it's finances, relationships, or lifestyle. She resists the temporary thrills that derail so many others. Her budget may not be huge, but her discipline makes her wealthy in purpose and peace. And this is what a lot of folks don't understand. They go for money. They go for money and don't know what the hell to do with it when they get it. You see what I mean? It's not just go for money and go for money's sake, because there's a lot of reasons that low self-esteem will drive you to spend the little money that you have. And people don't understand that. And they think it's going to soothe them. Okay, I have money and I have gadgets, but do you have an ongoing income? Is it regular? Have you set yourself up for life? That should be the goal, because especially today, where the dollar is diminishing, all this craziness financially in the world, and the world doesn't care about America anymore. They may tell you that. They may try to put the propaganda out, but it's a sinking ship that way. So we have to think beyond that. We have to see ourselves as global citizens, not just this American thing. Now, listen, this is a call that I was waiting for. I'm sorry, I have to get off of this now. Just for a second, I'm going to go on and play a little music, and I'm going to step away because there's somebody who's coming here to do some work for me. Okay, so I'll be back. Yes, family. I'm going to have to end this right now. I am so sorry. As soon as my friend is done doing his measuring, I'm going to come back with the same exact show. And I didn't know he was going to be here this early. I was going to squeeze this show in, but he's right out in the front. So I have to go and open the gates and let him in. I am so sorry. This is a miscalculation. So please forgive me. And I'm going to be back. And we're going to do shows all day when I do. Okay. But I do have to run. And I'm so sorry. Things like this do happen. But I'll be back. All right. Much love.